them anymore, but I can really appreciate them.
Yeah. I do love watching those videos, those YouTube ones on, Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire and all those old time dancers. They really do go to town. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
But I can really appreciate them.
All right.
Alan, you're live.
There it is. What we got here? I'm going to close that down then and come back to it. Yeah, okay. Great. All right, so like every morning I get to sort of scramble at the end here. I've got all kinds of things prepared as far as like, what the steps are, but La Vida, also always more juicy things that I want to get done. And this is like, these little bits and pieces are just not as engaging.
You need to find somebody to help you get organized.
I'm happy. See, part of the problem is I like what I'm doing. If I wanted to impress everybody else with huge amounts of organization of things that I don't care much about, then I'd get all that done.
At the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Yeah. So Adam's Friday Flow with Entrepreneurs. We got it on YouTube channel. We have attendees. You can use this on social media and all the other good stuff. We're gonna do intro topic. We're gonna do attendee greetings and who's and do what's. Open the discussion pretty generally, and then I'm gonna close with action asks that you have. And today is close to the heart of our attendee, Miss Annie Irizarry. And so I'm expecting to hear all kinds of great things from you, Miss Annie.
Well, we're going to go kind of a lightning speed here on PMBOK version 7.
You want to go there real fast on it?
Well,
I'll probably interrupt you a lot. Just clarifying.
We need to get through quite a bit of materials in a short amount of time. So let me preface that with that, right?
Wait, you say we need to. I say we want to get through some of the tools. Just because you want to get through all of it doesn't mean that we have to.
Well, right. So this is, let me set some expectations here. We're going to look at this probably from a 50,000 or 30,000 feet altitude. Not in it's enough to give you enough information, but not in great detail, enough to be dangerous. Let's put it that way, right? At that point,
and we always can come back. It's
right. Absolutely.
We've got some time. Clock will run out someday, but today's not the day, I hope.
Right. Today's not the day to dive deep and wide.
The reason I want to get into this is because it makes finishing more manageable, especially if the thing gets more complicated. I think we'll see how that all works a bit more when we talk to Miss Irizarry.
This is just an introduction. The official release of version 7 doesn't happen until 2021.
Oh, that's good to know. And using collectively designed tools, because one of the reasons that my business is helpful for people is that they haven't quite put pieces together, or they just haven't had the ambition to. But usually it's because they're like just little bits and parts that if they had just a little more knowledge, they would feel more empowered. But that's one of the things about the collection of tools and stuff that some real smart people are putting together.
This is just an introduction, preliminary, heads up, it's coming down the pike.
There's such a thing as death by committee, but this I think it's neat to at least listen and see the stuff out there. I mean, we're always standing on shoulders, so let's hope these are some pretty cool giants.
Right.
Welcome to Adam's Friday Flow. We're going to do a little introduction here of ourselves. So if you have a website, throw it in the chat there, and I will pull it up when it's your turn. I should put like my link right here so that all I have to do, I'm just going to do that. I copy this thing here. So e.g. http sparksflow.com. It didn't like that. It gave me, it just did this nonsense. Whoa. command. So I'll copy all that and kick it out, and then I'm gonna paste it on there. No, all right. So I gotta undo this linky thing, unlink, and then I can push. There we are. All the, oop. I got this. I got this. All right. So yeah, so then I can just click on this guy and I'll be all set. See, I don't have to flip off. See how that saves a little bit of time there? It only took 5 months. Anyways. So little bits and pieces, we're tweaking as we go, which is one of the kind of things with that I like about this PMBOK stuff that Annie is going to talk a lot about, and I'll have a great time, I think, talking about it. I'm pretty excited because what I like to do is make people enjoy work as they're doing it. So Joyfully Organized Family Business, we spend so much energy on trying to decide what we're going to do next and how we're going to do it next. That if we had tools that sort of like focused us in on those and how to get them, that's going to cut out a whole chunk of decision making that you can save that energy. And we only have a limited amount of decision energy. It gets us to save some of that energy. And so one of the things that I love to do with people is make it so they can narrow down the amount of extra decisions that they don't have to make anymore, because they want to use those on the things they enjoy, as opposed to constantly making the same choice over that doesn't move them anywhere. So I want their sparks to flow. And so you can go on this real simple website. I'm really leaning towards getting a more fancy website that I can actually make more engaging. But right now I'm just starting off. I've got about 2 years under my belt, and I'm starting to work full time for this business now, which is really exciting. But it's almost to the point where I think I could actually do some extra things like pay for a website and stuff. Of course, the reverse is maybe I could pay for a website and then I'll be more full time. We'll see. Anyway. Oh, and a note is sometimes things come up. This might be CenturyLink. All right, so I'm gonna let you you go. Alan, Phil, Annie.
I'm Alan Ramos. I'm retired from a whole lot of things, and I'm here.
Short and sweet, Alan, we know.
Right. I am Annie, CEO and founder of Core Community Housing, and also a project manager, PMP certified, CSM certified as a Scrum Master consultant. Right, we bit of update on the company. We just got approved by Valencia County to develop the 30 acres in Valencia County. As of yesterday, we got past the second gate, so the Board of Commissions approved us to move forward. So exciting times. Now the real work begins.
Sure does.
So
well, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm apologize for stepping out there. There might be a couple more interruptions because for one of my clients, I'm helping them get their CenturyLink hooked up. Have any of you guys ever done that?
Oh, well, yeah.
It is it's a deal. So what happens is they give you an 8-hour window that they can show up, and you need to be available within 15 minutes.
Geez, Louise. Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit crazy. It's ill wrought on a number of levels, but
yeah, they call it lack of customer service.
Yeah. This was scheduled for Wednesday, and through a series of events has now come to today. So that's why I'm doing that and hoping I don't lose get this thing finished up.
Well, good for you, right? So we have made significant progress with Valencia County. So now we were approved to do our community development in Valencia County. We got past 2 gates, planning and zoning, and now Board of Commissions. We had the approval yesterday. We were approved. So now the real work begins.
And this is the thing you're talking about.
Right? Yeah. the 30 acres. So we're gonna do a pilot in Valencia County. So now we've got to work on the proposal with National Science Foundation. We're still working on that. So we're hoping to get that done soon. We're tweaking the final stages of the proposal. So hopefully
We
we'll
are, and you know what? The funny thing is, they just, and I don't know if you've noticed in the email yesterday, Annie, the part we're stuck on is challenge. All right,
yeah,
and
challenge-
we're having a challenge.
challenges.
We're having a challenge trying to complete the challenge.
Yes, we are. We're kind of at the final tweaking of the proposal. We're really trying to perfect the proposal. We really are. And I think when you're getting to that 11, 12 stages, you're really putting your critical thinking hat on. And I think that's really, it's really tough, right? Because you're putting your most critical thinking at that point, and you're putting on your very, very best. So everybody's really, wrangling the very best of their thinking at that point.
Where in Valencia County are you? Do you think you're going to be? Or is it unknown yet?
Well, we have the land in El Camino Royal. It's an unencumbered land, like almost towards the Facebook area. There's a Walmart by I-25 past the airport.
Oh.
It's out there. It's by El Camino. It's pretty, the land is pretty much out there. It's pretty rural, shall we say. It's an outland, they call it outland district out there. So it's 30 acres. So if you kind of know where Facebook is, it's like east of Facebook.
What do you mean with Facebook is? It's on the internet. It's not anywhere.
Well, it's not. Let me put it this way: it's not marked because there's no roads out there yet. It's
Really?
past the railroad tracks.
Is that top spot? What is that?
Let me see. I wrote some notes on it. It's like
Is it down here by Belen? That doesn't seem right.
no,
Really?
it's not by Belen. It's in Los. It's more closer to Los Lunas.
Yeah.
It's off of 4 miles south of Highway 6. If that gives you by Camino Largo. That's
South of Los
4
Highway
miles
six.
south of Highway 6.
Okay.
That's the best point of marker I can give you,
Yeah.
right? So
Camino.
it's really out there.
Hey, so Adam, you see where the Walmart Supercenter is?
Yep.
So if you go left of that,
Over here?
no, that's it. Yeah. So just where your pointer is, go pull that down of just an inch and about there.
Oh, okay. Look at this guy. That guy's strategically describing how this works. So that's cool. And Phil, you and Annie, did you mention that you're working together on your little intro there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I do the National Science Foundation stuff, and when I did one of those 30-second or minute pitches at 1 million cuts, Annie and a couple of other people come to me, and we've just progressed from there.
Cool.
So
Right.
You know
oh,
about this thing that's at the top of the page?
that's my website you got
Do you know
there.
about, yeah. Do you know anything about this thing at the top of your page? This notice unidentified index hover icon tablet and all that?
No,
No, what is that?
I don't know. It's just there. I thought I'd bring it to your attention in case you want to do something about it.
yeah, okay, I'll have a look. Wasn't there yesterday, but there you go.
I think it's been here a number of times when I come in, but I don't know why. Let me try. It might be because I oops. I'm changing the wrong thing. Okay. It might be because I've changed the size of the screen. But I feel like this has happened a couple of times to me. I don't know what that's about though.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
Okay. So, but otherwise, this is there. See, that looks better, doesn't it?
It looks better now.
Yes, we're good now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. I might be redoing that. I'm leaving it up for now. I've actually paid for another year because it was due to expire.
Yeah.
And now I've done my book and I'm feeling kind of void of things to do because I spent so much time on the book. And not just the book, but with the National Science Foundation, with Annie on the proposal. It's I've got a few holes to fill. So I'm going to probably redo this website and put it more in line with the book I want to publish, as opposed to keeping this site. I've had I've had this for about 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, yeah. I think lining up with the book is great. So did you design this, or is there somebody working on it for you?
I designed it, but I got somebody to do the website for me. Cool.
Do you mind telling who?
I was a lady in New York. Yeah, I mean, she works across the country anyway. But if you're interested,
yeah,
I can give you to her.
I can
give you the contact details.
Cool.
But yeah, she did really well. She built it up in just over a week for me.
The new one?
There's a lot in there because each of those boxes,
yeah,
is a different link.
Oh, you designed this, but she's the one that put it together. So this is. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. We got all that. Okay. So, and you're having her do the next version too?
Yeah, but I'm gonna probably come away from the more generic. I'm saying generic consulting range that I've been in, and see if I can concentrate on a website. Actually, in all honesty, Adam, I'm deciding about the website and whether I need to build an app, because my book on how you implement strategy, it goes through a process, and what I've been thinking is that process, I should be able to convert that process into an app.
That's cool.
That businesses can use. So I'm actually, where do I want to spend my money? And I think that decision will happen when I actually get the book published, and then I see how well it's received. And if it's being received fairly well, then I might go the app way as opposed to the website way. And I've done some research on apps on, even if you search SWOT on apps, you get very, very few, and they're not very good. So I think I can improve upon that area greatly. But the downside to that is, if there are very, very few, does that mean people actually go there very often to look?
Am I still sharing this? Okay.
SWOT.
SWOT.
What's that stand for?
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
I've asked this question before. Okay. Cool. So you're saying that you might have something better than that that's out there. That's cool. So you might be teaming up with someone like that. Cool. So Annie, with this core, who did your website? Did you do this yourself?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay.
I actually did.
Well, you were just trying to get a place anyway. I remember you talking about the website.
At this point, it's a place setting, so.
Yeah, it's less about the impressiveness and more about there's a place.
Yeah,
which is what I did with mine.
You know,
it's a place
Annie,
setting at this point because it's really not.
That's all this is.
Annie, is that your first page when you put it in core community housing?
That's the home page.
You should change that picture to the one we've got in the proposal for the community.
I tried putting the town center, but that's too busy. I wanted to keep it very simple.
All right.
And clean.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I tried different things, but if I put something else in there, it's too hard to read. So this one was the cleanest. So I was looking for something simple and something clean.
This is simple, but I'm not sure if it's clean.
Yeah,
I didn't know how,
it's
I
very
didn't
fuzzy.
know if there was because if I put a whole community, it's gonna be too busy.
Right, but this looks like a very out of focus trailer car.
Yeah, it was meant to be more of a washout watermark, right? It was intended to be more of a watermark in the background.
We had good intentions.
Well,
So the SWAT thing. So do you mind if we go ahead and shift then? Let's talk about this PEMDOC stuff. What's
Right.
PEMDOC?
PMBOK, Project
what?
Management Body of Knowledge.
PEMBOK.
We can go straight to that if you want. I mean, I've got some materials we can kind of go over. Have some slides.
You can start anywhere, and I will be sure to interrupt and move it around. So go for it.
So can I share a screen?
Yeah, please.
Oh,
I don't know if I
disabled the sharing, so I can't share my screen. Can I share a screen?
Apparently not. Hold on a moment.
Otherwise, I can't share the information.
Security, share screen, allow
Have to make
participants.
her a
It says
host.
there. It says allow participants to share screen, and I've got it as availability. Maybe it's because I'm sharing that I'm not able to. Let me try that. I'm just doing this out of curiosity. Then I'll go ahead and do the co-host thing. Go for it. Try again.
Try again?
Yeah.
So disable participant screen sharing.
One participant should share at a time. Okay, more than one.
Yeah, it says when I pull it down for share content, it says only the host can share this meeting.
Advanced sharing options.
You have to make her a host.
One participant can share at a time. Multiple participants can share. Who can share? Only the host. Oh, I see. Okay, so all participants. There we go. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Only the host. Oh, okay. So I got that all.
All right.
Now,
so it looks like I can now.
Bam! Look at that.
All right. Let me go and.
Look at that. There's Annie.
Okay, so I'll skip through the agenda. So my first question here is, what do you have in your parachute? So that's kind of a general question here. What do you have? Do you have that, or do you have the splat?
Wow.
So the question I'm going to ask you guys is, what do you guys use as far as what's in your parachute, as far as your tools, right? So this is the only part that we'll have as far as kind of I'm curious to know, when you have a team or you've got, a company, right? What do you use as far as your tool sets? So we can quickly go over that. And Adam, maybe for you, since you have Sparks Flow, what do you use with your clients when you're organizing, if you will? What's in your tool belt?
My brain. No, there's other stuff in the background that I've got going on, but at this point, I have kind of a breakdown that I started talking to them about, but a lot of it is basing off what they have and then going with it. I'll honest, there's like a collection of little tools, like the 5 Whys, and I'm in a program right now with Joycelyn Campbell. She's got Farther to Go, and she focuses a lot on brain science and like how we make goals and decide what we're doing and motivate ourselves to use use our brain to the potential we want it to. But as far as like project tools, I haven't had too many things that are bigger projects yet. So it's like I've got 3 hours, and I've been leaning more towards like starting to sketch up an image of what we're going to create in the space, and then also just like kind of the list of tools and then SMART goals and stuff. But really right now I'm just playing around, and it's impressing people, but I want to know more about tools that I like. Okay, that might be a cool tool that I'll throw in here too. I mean, making a Gantt chart for a 3-hour session doesn't make much sense.
Well, yeah, I agree. Right, you're more on the practical side of things as opposed to formalized things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Phil, anything? I know Phil probably uses the SWOT, the SMART, the typical traditional stuff. I know Phil uses some of that.
Yeah, I use SMART, and also Eisenhower squares is something I mentioned to people. I don't spend too much time on it though, because by the time I'm talking to them, they already know it's important.
I think when you're in the job of looking at people's businesses, the biggest thing you can have in your toolbox is to sit and listen to what people are doing and watch what people are doing.
Yeah.
Because you know, when you're helping people to pivot a department or an organization, or to even add a product to their existing portfolio, you can't do any of that unless you actually sit down and watch and listen to how their processes and their workflows operate within an organization. So they're the most important things for me to gauge from a customer, that allow me to draw conclusions of what needs to be done and go forward. But if you want to call it an academic tool, then I believe strongly in a SWOT. I use it many times, and it's never really let me down. Does it have every answer? No, but it certainly gets you on the right road to the right answers.
That's
Alan,
cool.
how about you? What do you use?
I think that the vast majority of projects that I have run are different than what you all do. I usually enter a project in the midst of a crisis. Most of the people who I have to work with don't want to be there. They feel threatened. And I start with exactly what Phil talked about, is I really have to listen, build trust, and remove myself as a threat to them. But I have to do it very quickly. So, because usually there is no luxury of time. Either the business is about to fail or implode. And oddly, many of the people have no sense of the reality. They think everything's fine. And so it's kind
Isn't
of,
it? And they're still breathing. They're getting to talk to you. Isn't that nice?
Well, they're getting a paycheck. And most of the people, I mean, the dynamics of failure is that the people at the top don't want to let on that the business is failing. So, but it is, and that's why I'm there. And so you again, you have no luxury of time. You have to really listen really hard and understand that it's not just what people say, but how they say it. And maybe more importantly, what they don't say and how they don't say it. And so I would be hard pressed to identify any tool, because every situation is unique, and it's the same. It's kind of odd. I mean, you have so many situations that you see over and over and over again, but you have to look for the uniqueness in that particular organization. And it's really not a science, it's an art. And I often have said, I cannot tell you how I've done that, but I can also, and this sounds very arrogant, but I've very rarely been wrong about my assessment. I just have built that intuition to be able to recognize things and then have the chutzpah to move forward on that assessment.
And that's a key thing too, because you actually have created a tool in your head, because from your experience, you said, okay, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. So you've limited the amount of choices that you have out there, but you're able to tune in using your subconscious. Well, it's not subconscious, but
at the outset, I tried to just go in clean. I don't want to have any assumption or presumptions. I just have to really listen, because if I have an assumption or presumption, that will color how I see the data and how I hear the data presented. So I really have to open my mind as wide as possible so that I hear everything. And then I have to distill it quickly and then come to an assessment and then act on it. And, you know, it's fine. I guess the best way for me to describe how I work is I walk into chaos and the first thing I have to do is build a structure around the chaos. And once I can build some structure in my mind, then I can move forward in a positive way.
So what are some of these structures you got for us, Annie? Or what's
Well, so here's some, right? You can formalize some of that stuff, and it's great. Some of these things are great. You're absolutely, all of you are absolutely right.
well,
You
thank
come
you.
in, you have to listen, you have to be objective, right? You have to take your emotions out of it because you're coming in, and a lot of times you don't have the luxury of time. You don't have the luxury of, you're coming in chaos. You're coming in and you have to turn things around in a short amount of time. A lot of times you don't even have that. You don't have the luxury of time even, right? You come in, they hire you. And in my case, I've been hired by large organizations. You have to do this we've not been able to do this in 8 years, but we want you to do this in 8 weeks, by the way. The impossible. They want you to do the impossible, and that's it.
Sounds
Right.
fun.
Right? Let me get this straight. You as a $25 billion company have not been able to do this in 8 years, but you want me to do this in 8 weeks and get you all together and bring and herd all the cats and all the players and let me do the impossible. There we go, right? All right, let me get this straight. Okay, you want me to work miracles with no budget, no time, no resources. Okay, all right. I got that, right? This is my scope. You have no time, no money, no resources. That's what we want you to do. Okie dokie. I got that. All right, let's go. Rock and roll. Right? And you want to laugh and say, you can't do this in 8 years, but you want me solo. I'm the Lone Ranger.
That
Hayo
sounds
Silva.
like-
Where's
sounds like
Tonto?
Sounds like they wouldn't want me to be working with them then, because I would have to say, you gotta give me one of those things.
Right?
So
Where's
what-
Tonto? And where's my co-captain? And they won't even give me that, right? I have to go solo on here, and I have a very, very hostile environment that I'm walking in. And quite honestly, that's what I'm walking in, very hostile. 9
So
times
what do
out
we
of 10.
What do you got for tools then?
Okay, so hang on, let me go. Let's go for the tools here. First of all, let's go with, has anybody heard about the VUCA, right? This term came out of the military. As if any of you have a military background, you're coming in from VUCA 1.0, where you've got volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And then you need to go into VUCA 2.0, which is, right, you want to go into vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. And in order to get there, you need to bridge that gap. And in order to bridge that gap, you need additional tools. And you guys, knowing what you know, you guys have great starting points. And then you need to kind of corral that in to get to 2.0, from 1.0 to 2.0. And you have tool sets that you kind of need to have in your tool belt, if you will. So let's kind of go to your tool belts in order to get to 2.0 from 1.0. So PMBOK is one of those tools, and we're going from 6.0 to 7.0. And now PMBOK is, first of all, it's kind of a monstrosity of a framework. There's a lot of moving parts in project management body of knowledge, and they're changing it. Not that the previous versions no longer apply, they absolutely apply, but now 7.0 comes into play in 2021. And so they're changing it to a point where it's now becoming a little bit more complex, and it's becoming, they're adding more layers to it, to the previous domains and knowledge areas and the standards. So now you have the standards of the 5 phases, which is the initiating, the planning, the executing, the monitoring and controlling, and then the knowledge areas on top of that, which is all the 10 areas. And then on top of that, they're adding even more in 7.0, and they're adding the value domains in 7.0 on top of the 5 phases and on top of the knowledge areas.
So
So
Annie, would I interrupt you here? So you're saying VUCA is a tool within PMBOK, or
No,
VUCA
it's
is
not.
like PMBOK?
No, it's not. VUCA is is, let's go back to that. VUCA is what we're dealing with, right? VUCA is the world we are dealing with. The
Oh,
1.0 is the business world, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. We're all dealing with that, right? But in order to go from the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous and into 2.0, which is vision, understanding, clarity, and agility, you need the right tool sets and the right, which you guys have from a tacit knowledge and experience, which is, right? You listen.
I can totally get better.
Right?
I'm good. I want to be
Right.
better.
Right? You want to get better. You have, obviously, you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have that. You walk in, you sit and you listen and you watch and you build in a trust with your clients. You remove the threats. You do a reality check. You remove, right?
So-
You
So you're saying that PMBOK is providing the 2.0 in the world.
No. PMBOK is not giving you the 2.0. You want to get to 2.0. But in
So-
order to get to 2.0, you need not only your experience and your knowledge, you need tool sets that will help you get there.
And so PMBOK is like the arrows.
Right. PMBOK is like one of the tools. It's like a hammer. It's like a screwdriver. It's a tool that bridges the gap from,
A spoon.
right? It's going from 1.0, it'll help you get from 1.0 to 2.0. But
Yeah.
it's only one of many tools that you can use, right? In addition to your knowledge, your experience, and your intuition. It's part of your wiring, if you will, that
Right.
you need to figure out how to put together and how to tailor for your clients.
And so PMBOK it had a 6.0 version, and now they're updating it to reflect more of the times. Is that what it is going on?
We're updating it to more so that you can add more tools in your tool belt,
Okay.
right? It's a principle, it's a guideline,
It's like a
It's
tool
not-
of tools.
it's additional tools for you to use, to be able to use. But let me put it this way. Just because I give you a book doesn't mean you're able to use it effectively. Let's put it
Oh,
that way.
yeah.
It's not a prescription that says, take this pill and you'll fix your problems. It doesn't work that way. It just means this is your guide. Now you have to tailor. It's a guideline. It's like a book. It's like a lawyer's book, right? Just because a lawyer gives you a book, and Ellen, I mean, you've got a book of laws. If you have 100 books, it doesn't mean if you go to one book, you'll get an answer. You have to kind of put it together effectively. You have to apply it. You have to apply the law to the situation.
So VUCA is the situation. PMBOK is the thing that makes us get from 1.0 to 2.0. Is one of the things we could use.
It's
So
the
how does-
guide. It's a guide.
Yeah, great.
To help you get from 1.0 to 2.0.
And so they've done a bunch of updates. You go back to the next screen.
So they've done a bunch of the previous versions, all the previous versions still apply. But and then now they're adding 7.0 on top of the previous versions. You now have to apply to it, and it's changing. It doesn't mean the previous versions are no longer valid, they still are. But now you have the 7.0 on top of the previous versions, you now have to take and apply as well. Does that make sense? Right?
Sort of. I think it'll
So
make
you-
more sense if you keep going.
Right? So you have the phases, you have the knowledge areas, now you have the value domains as well. So now project management is evolving into more, there's a value domain instead of just, it's no longer a prescriptive model, it's also a performance model as well. So you're adding the performance to it, performance value, not just, okay, there's the phases, there's the knowledge areas. It's no longer just a checklist. You now have a performance guide. You now have to tailor even more. If that, right? You
So in a
still
way-
have the-
In a way, I think. Let me try it. If this makes sense, it's kind of like what Alan and Phil and I have kind of said too. Is like it's more like it's saying instead of coming in with the tool at first, you come in to kind of get a view of what's going on, and then
Right.
you start realizing like then the tools you can choose from them, because it looks like here on the first version here, like the 6 point version, they flipped it over So the standard for the project management has gone to the top, and so more of the, let's take it in big picture view and then narrow into a tool afterwards. Does that seem about right?
Well, you still have the standards, right? The previous versions are your standards.
Right,
But you're
they're still there.
also now adding, the 7th version is now adding your performance, the value delivery. So in other words, you're not focused so much on the output. You're really focusing more on the value delivery. What are you delivering? Are you delivering an output or are you delivering value? It's more about what value are you delivering versus an output. It's no longer a checklist. Okay, did we get 1, 2, 3 done? What value are we delivering? It's about value delivery.
Great.
You see what I mean? Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Right, okay. So that's kind of how it's evolving. The previous versions still apply. It's not that they've expired. It's just we're building on previous versions and adding more to that.
Got that.
So much so that when you go forward, you're adding another layer and it's really about performance. It's about business value, not
Right.
project value.
Cool.
Does that make sense, right?
Yes.
So that's really what it is.
Great.
So, right?
Yes.
So yeah, this is coming in 2021. So this is what's changing as far as our tool sets are coming. This is kind of the preview. This is like Hollywood,
Great. We got that.
right?
Annie, I have a question.
Yeah.
What I don't see there is the identification of shared organizational values. For me, that's the of any organization is what are their shared values. And
Well-
in most organizations, those are not articulated, which causes a problem because if you're that's your foundation. If you build on a faulty foundation, you're probably going to fall down.
Well, and being that or every organization is different and every culture is different, that's a separate, right? You discuss that in your stakeholders because you've got a stakeholder principle. That's something you discuss. This is strictly the structure of project management. This is really within the context of project management. So if you're talking organizational foundation, that's outside of project management. So if you have a foundation organizational structure issue, then that's something that is discussed separately. That's right. That's if that's important in the organization, then that's something that has to be addressed before you even get here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just because that's my bias. I would hope that it would be identified before you start the project, and
Yes.
right now we're ignoring it.
Might be in
the
system,
project.
the system for value delivery. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you would hope that you would discuss that up front ahead of time, right? That you understand that you have that discussion beforehand.
Yeah, but what I'm reading here assumes you've done that, but doesn't confirm that you've done that.
Right. So you discuss that in your system value delivery. You discuss that in your stakeholder, in your stewardship. At some point, you will discuss that in somewhere in your right in the context of the entire thing. At some point, you will discuss that. You will touch on it. Is my
Right.
point.
Well, I'm really excited. We got to the next page.
So
That's
the
a good-
impact
That's a
of,
good point. Maybe we'll see if it comes up.
right PMBOK 7 is, first of all, you just don't have project managers anymore. In the past, project management is mostly, the roles are changing, they're evolving. Right, you have leaders versus project managers, and the roles are evolving, right? That's one thing that's changing because of the way it's being structured. In the past, project managers are project managers. They are thought of as part of operations as opposed to leadership. And at this point, with PMBOK 7 evolving the way it is, project managers are being looked at, or should be looked at, as project leaders.
What's the difference between a leader and a manager?
A manager is looked at as a subordinate versus a seat on the as opposed to a chair on a C-level executive.
Ah, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They
you were
don't have-
mentioning that last time, or whenever
Right.
you talked
Yeah.
last.
Which I always thought of, even when I started doing this.
Yeah.
They're always thought of as, oh, you don't really belong here. There's sort of the what do you call it? The orphan that, you just follow our orders and nothing more, when they really deserve a seat in the C-level,
If you wanted to be potent, yeah, sounds great. Cool.
right? So that's one of the changes that's evolving. And the other thing is, it is now being one of the changes because of PMBOK 7.
Yeah.
It is now a principle-based performance versus a prescriptive model. Whereas in the past, the project management body of knowledge is thought of as, these are the things, as a checklist, right? As opposed to principle-based performance.
We've and I think you said that a number of times. I think we're gonna have to wrap up here and move to the asks and everything. We can
Right.
come back to some of this later on. I'm
Right,
interested in more.
So let me at least go through this as sort of a list. So now it's
Yeah.
moving into more value focus versus the outcome versus the output, right?
Yep.
Right. It's a business activity versus a project activity. There's a lot of shades of gray here between titles, ethics, privacy, especially with artificial intelligence coming around the corner. There's a lot of shades of gray, so things are becoming unclear. There's a lot of overlaps versus a silo approach. Right, there's a lot more tailoring, ergo the agile is becoming the standard, and you need to be more flexible. And the performance domain with the overlaps this is what it looks like, with all the different things going on and the overlaps that you need to think about.
Cool.
That's being added, right? And then the tailoring, right? You're looking at the principle.
Annie, I thought the list was that one page. You keep going.
Right? It's a policy, it's an objective, it's a principle versus.
So Annie, I'm going to stop you there. I do want to see more of this, and we can finish it up more in a bit, and one a future session. But we're going to wrap up today because I tend to go over, and I'm trying not to. So
Okay.
I really appreciate you putting that together, and I do want to see more of it. We got kind of an introduction today. And then we'll get a little more into the nitty gritty about 2 sessions or so from now. Does that sound? Would you
That's
be
fine. Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna go back to. I had something going on here. So I was doing some research in the background as you were doing that, trying to understand this VUCA thing. So there we are. People always make a big deal about having a lot of tabs on top, and I sort of understand that, but like in a show like this, I think it's handy because then I'm going to go back and I can take these links, I'll copy them, and I'll put them in the show notes if I get to that point. I used to do that when I first started this, but I used to have more time. I'm now more active, which is a mixed blessing. Anyway, so I'm going to go back to this one here, and we are wrapping up. Okay, we did that. Talking about Tritons. Okay, so we're going to do some afterthoughts coming. Anyway, let me know in any version you'd like to do of what worked well in this session, how you might challenge me, because I like to be challenged. It's something that helps me grow. And then how I was able to challenge you is something I also like to hear, because that's something that I like to do. And it's one of the major reasons I get into what I am. So we're challenging each other, we can grow a bunch. Next meeting is going to be potent goals and why do goals work. I don't have a page on here to prompt me to do the ask. I guess I have it here. Okay, so we'll go around and guys, give me your action asks. So what what actions would you like us to take?
I'm going to follow up on something Alan does every week, and that says everybody should go out and vote.
Great. And last time Alan and I
results from yesterday's virtual briefing, for want of a better phrase, and a statistic come out that said, 50 million Americans have voted. And I thought about that, they were saying it in a positive way. 50 million Americans have already voted. And I'm going, we're just over a week from the election. There are 330 million people in this country. That's about 15%. Right? Yeah, 15%. And they still haven't. And that means there's a hell of a lot of people still haven't voted.
Huh.
Well, that data is a little bit faulty because that's not the number of registered voters. So you have to take out all the kids.
I get that. I get it's going to be 100 or 150 million less, but even so, that's still a very small number.
It's going to end up being a small number compared to many other countries, which frankly is an embarrassment. I mean, there are so-called third world nations that have 80% voters.
That's true. But we're not here to complain about things people aren't doing. We're here to kind of focus on what actions we will take.
Well, when I dropped off my ballot, there was a line of people waiting to vote, and there was even a line of people waiting to drop off their ballots.
Yeah,
and I thought that was wonderful.
Good.
My wife dropped off her ballot already. I've yet to do mine.
I've done mine.
Have
you done yours,
Alan,
Annie?
do you have an ask? Oh yeah.
Annie, have you done yours?
Well, let me ask you a question, because I went to vote411.org. I thought I did because I made my selection there, but apparently I didn't.
Oh.
So I guess I'm going to have to go in on November 3rd and do it.
That's not where you vote.
I didn't drop off my ballot because I wrote all kinds of notes on my ballot. So it's all messed up. So I'm going to have to go in. Can I still do it online? I didn't know if I still
No,
could do
you
it
can't.
online.
You can't vote online. Vote411.org is not a place to vote. It's a place to get information. That's why they call it 411.
Right. So I did. So when I went to vote 411, I put my address in and made my selection there. And I thought I did. I guess I didn't understand quite how that worked.
Yeah, Annie, 411 is just a really handy tool to think it through and then like keep your notes. Like, you select which ones you liked.
Right.
But then you take that information and then you can move it. You can put it on a piece of paper or something, take it with you when you go vote, and you move it on to the actual ballot.
Right. So I'm going to have to go
Annie,
in.
you don't have time for a postal ballot. You're going to have to go down there. You're going to have to go.
So that's what I'm going to have to do is go down. That's it.
Yeah. So go through 411.org, make your selections, print it out, and then take that with you.
Right. Because I had my ballot and I wrote notes on it. So I'm just going to have to go in and actually do it on November 3rd. That's all.
That's it.
So, I had all kinds of pencil notes on mine. So
my ask this week is make sure, Annie, you go and vote.
Well, right. My ask is
really specific.
My ask is I'd like to get this sort of, my ask is on, this project management, because I know we get it out there. So this, I'd like to be able to get this information out there and this update, because I know we have a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and people who are offering project management as a service. And I'd like to get this update out there so people are informed. So that's kind of one of my asks.
Well, you should be a presenter at Million Cups.
So.
Okay. So as this locate your polling or find early locate, but I thought it was going to give me some deadlines on here, but it didn't give me deadlines.
I know there is one close by to my house. I know there is one here, so I know where to go.
This is at vote.org. Okay, cool.
So I just have to go in, that's all. I'll go in, that's it.
So what's your ask, Annie?
Well, we need to get this update to project management to people who are offering this type of service, because I know there's a few people who do. So we need to get this information out there to people who are offering this kind of, service, because I know, what's her name? Orange Hummingbird. I know she offers this service, so
Nikki.
People need to be aware of the changes.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so how would you exactly recommend? I'm just curious more in the steps of how one would get this out to
I don't know, why, maybe Adam, as you offer your services, project management is another one of those services that people need to be aware of.
Project leadership.
Project leadership, right? And here's the thing, right? One of the things I noticed in New Mexico, they want the services, but they don't want to pay for it. That's the problem here. They don't want to pay for it. They want
Yeah.
it for next to nothing, and that's not how it works. They want good quality leadership.
Well, it's not how it works if you get people that hold to. That's not how they'll work.
Right. So I think that's the key.
Well, cool.
They want the talent, but don't want to pay for it.
But I think that's in every profession, everywhere, is people would love to get quality professional help for nothing. And that's
and
the
one of the things that
sales
helps-
job is
one
to
of the things that-
convince people.
One of the things that helps, because we don't want to be here to complain about what's not being done, but talk about what to do, is next time we're going to talk about potent goals. And one of the cool things about it is you have goals and people are able to figure out what they want. They can assess really how much they're willing to invest, whether it be their time, which you can't replace, money, which you can replace, or your talents, which you're constantly, improving by investing them. By getting these goals set in place, they're more likely to see, okay, I've got buy-in and the money is replaceable and that kind of stuff. And it's really cool. But potent goals will make that happen because they are actually aiming for a desire. So that's what we're going to talk about next time. And I appreciate you guys coming and having a lively discussion. Annie, you are a force and it's really fun to talk with you. Alan, thank you for coming and talking stuff up with us. And Phil, I appreciate you keep on strategizing with us. So keep the sparks flowing. And if you want anyone to chat with me about their little projects or bigger projects as I'm getting ready to go because Annie's revving us up here, I'd be happy to do it. So keep the
Thanks,
sparks
Sam.
flowing.
Adam.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
Later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you